Nose-Centric Dog Training and Rehabilitation with Fearful Dogs. This video barely scratches the surface of this concept. For more in-depth information about how to use this method, please see the online learning page of my website, hearttoheartcanine.com, or the link in the description. Please like and subscribe to support this great content. This is an example of me connecting with a dog I just met using nose-centric techniques. This is at adoption event, and I'm just evaluating her to see what she's like, what kind of home she might need. She's definitely not afraid, but she's a little aloof, and sniffing what she's interested in with her helped her connect with me. You could see she wants to sniff every post, and she also wants to go around the perimeter of the space, which I engage in with her. I was able to earn a little bit of her attention and quickly became relevant to her. There's a video of my guys on a walk. You can see one dog starts sniffing in a spot. All dogs start sniffing in a spot. This is what Nose-Centric is based on. I have observed dogs for 15 years, and they communicate and get each other's attention by sniffing things, and then one dog will sniff something, and then the other dogs will come and check it out. It's a mutually beneficial behavior, but people hardly ever engage in this behavior with their dogs. To fully earn our dog's trust, it helps if we acknowledge and mirror their own behaviors and what's important to them. It's really easy for us to participate in sniffing things with our dog. This may sound crazy, and your neighbors might look at you like you're crazy, but it makes a huge difference in how your dogs view you and how important and relevant you are. If you are not aware of what they find interesting or concerning, they cannot rely on you to protect them, and they will not follow you as easily. Sniffing. Oh, what does Chardonnay smell? Oh, let's check it out. All right. I haven't put anything in here. There's no food or anything in here. We're just exploring this morning. And the way I connected with Tipton initially was climbing on stuff with him. He liked to do that. What'd you find, buddy? He actually found some kind of interesting. Notice my dogs are pointing things out to each other and following each other around the rock pile, and I am doing the same. So this can be used for many things. This can be used for dogs that are shy and not sure about you. You can engage with them this way. This can be used for reactivity because dogs avoid conflict by using their nose. So if they follow you to a scent or they follow your direction to start using their nose, they'll become way less reactive. It has many uses. Plus, it's just kind of fun to see what are your dogs actually seeing down here, right? Here are some examples of how dogs explore strange objects and me helping them through this process. Very scary sprinkler laying on the ground. So I heard him growling at something. I thought maybe there was a critter, but I think it's only the sprinkler. So I got up, came over, stood next to it so he can come check it out without worrying. Hey, Toby. Let's make sure there's nothing in it or under it. Toby. Come here. What's that? Good boy. Good boy. Yeah. Sure. Now Toby gets brave enough to go sniff the sprinkler on his own. This will serve him when he gets worried about other objects too. It's trash day, and this thing usually isn't here. And Toby's a little unsure. So what I'm gonna do is lead him up to it and get him to use his nose. And Tipton is helping set the example too. So when he was just looking at it from a distance and he couldn't smell it, it was scary and he was unsure of it. But now that he comes up and he can smell it, it's not a big deal. These trash cans are strange to a lot of dogs because they're just big and dark and they're only out once in a while. So if the dog sees it from a distance, it's only seeing this weird silhouette that usually isn't here. But luckily for dogs, these things smell fantastic to them. So once they get up and sniff them, they're usually good with it. So as soon as they take notice of the trash can, I'm gonna maybe stop and look at it with them so they know I see what's bothering them. This will help because if I ignore what they're concerned about, they either think I'm dumb, oblivious, and I can't help them. So I need to acknowledge and be attuned to what my dog is concerned about. Then, from a distance, I might start encouraging them to use their nose by sniffing. Then, I'm gonna walk up to the trash can. Of course, now they're not afraid of it, but we're gonna walk up to the trash can, slow but confidently, and encourage the dogs to use their nose. But the most important thing is I'm doing this too. Because if you don't do it too, you're not as important to your dog and you're not attuned to what's important to them. If I'm walking along and I want my dogs to sniff something they're unsure about, or maybe something that's just interesting to them, again, I have to go first. I have to do this with them. This does a couple things. It gets your dog to follow you to a rewarding event, and it gets the dog to use its nose, so it's taking in information better. And you're being attuned to what a dog is and how they investigate the world. And you can use this to teach your dog to avoid conflict. If you have a dog that's maybe a little insecure or doesn't want to get in your space yet because they're not familiar with you or they don't have that level of trust yet, you may have to go up, sniff the object, and then move away so your dog can have space to go and investigate the object too. And you also have to give them a few minutes to do so. You can't be in a rush. If they don't do it, that's okay. You set the example for what they need to do in the future. So ideally what this would look like is we're walking along, these guys would be concerned. I'd go, hey guys, check this out. Check this out. And they'd come and check it out with me. I may have to stand up straight and do this if the dog is uncomfortable with me bending over. Some dogs are, especially if they don't know you. Or I'll have to sniff and then move out of the dog's space so they can have room to sniff. This will calm your dog down. It'll help them gather information about the world. And plus, you're going to earn bonus points because you're leading them to something they're interested in. And you're teaching them how to investigate the world so they don't have to be afraid of it. So this is a recycling trash can and my own trash can, so not quite as new and interesting to them. But if they were concerned about this, I would just walk up, give them the chance to investigate. Sometimes if you touch it, that helps. Sometimes it doesn't. There's also always a lot of questions when I recommend doing this with your dogs is how much do I let them sniff? because I don't want my dog just to be sniffing all over. And I would say I agree with that. We have times where we're walking, like now. Toby tried to go sniff something, and I just kept walking. There's no need to correct him or do anything else but maybe like, come on, bud, this way. So I'm not gonna let them just dictate everywhere we go. See, here they wanna stop, but I'm not going to, so I just keep walking. And they have to follow me. They're attached with a leash. A lot of this is just, what do you want to do on your walk? Sometimes I want to walk and get some exercise. If I see something that is interesting to me, or maybe interesting to the dogs, I let them go over and sniff it. And it's super easy to communicate this with your body language. You don't have to teach them anything. You can teach them a word like free or break, where that means they can have freedom. But usually when I just drop the leash and I'm not holding it shorter, that means they can go investigate. Or I will even lead the way. Hope that helps explain a few things about this method. It works really well. All I can tell you is that it's worked with hundreds of dogs and my clients' dogs, and rehab lots of dogs. Just letting your dog sniff at the end of the leash and you're just following it. That's not what I'm doing. I'm actively engaged with the dog in what they're interested in. And I don't have an agenda besides to connect with my dogs. And that may or may not happen every single time. They're not always gonna be interested in what I think they might be. Engaging with them in what they find important is the quickest way to build empathy, attunement, and mirror what the dog finds interesting. Hope this helps. Thanks for joining me.